Applying wing liner properly and blending eyeshadow color properly are two crafts that are kind of beyond my level. Thankfully, you're not here for that, and I'm not here to show you how to properly do it, but instead, as always, I'm here to share with you about the books that I've been reading. Specifically in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the books that I read in September. So, hi, I'm Hannah. Welcome back if you've been here. I really appreciate that you're watching my video again. I read 5 books in September. Most of them I read at the last 2 weeks of September because that was my holiday period. All of the 5 books that I read are in the same color scheme, which is somewhat very pleasing to me. But without further ado, let's just dive into the first book that I read in September. The only book that I got to finish in the first 2 weeks of September was My Not So Perfect Life by Sophie Kinsella. This is her latest release. It's an adult contemporary. It's different than her other chick lit that were more into the romance aspect, but this one is more in the personal life and career aspect of the main character, which I liked because she worked in branding and I am in marketing, so I learned branding and I'm interested in branding, so that was a really fun thing for me to read about. The title is pretty clear, My Not So Perfect Life. It's about reality of people's lives that are not as glamorous and as glossy as they project it to be. This perfect versus ugly reality things that the book is focusing about is the social media persona and the life that she's actually leading and her real struggles and the not so glamorous things that she needs to do that she doesn't want to share, but she still wants to show the world that, hey, I'm living my best life. The other perfect life that we're uncovering the ugly truth of, if you will, is the boss of the main character. So this main character is trying to live and trying to climb the ladder in her dream career, which is in branding, and she has a boss which looks like this stereotypical, very glamorous, I go to the best restaurants and I have the perfect life, perfect husband, perfect children kind of persona. I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars. As always, Sophie Kinsella's writing is very funny, but I find the voice of the main character is quite similar to the other main characters of Sophie Kinsella's book. The plot as a whole is pretty predictable, but it was a fun time reading it. It also reminds me, as perfect as other people's lives seem to be, it's not like perfect. Nobody is perfect. When the first good-looking guy came around, I told myself, that's the good-looking guy that doesn't want to commit, but by the end of the book he will profess his undying love. And whether or not it came true by the end of the book, I guess you should read it, but maybe you now has a guess whether or not it came true. The next book that I read, which was at the beginning of my holiday, was Genuine Fraud by E. Lockhart. I loved E. Lockhart's previous book, We Were Liars. I thought it was gripping and it was really good, so I had quite a high expectation, and I ended up not liking the latest release as much as We Were Liars. So Genuine Fraud, the latest release, is about a girl who befriended this friend who is very rich. They both go to a holiday together, but at the very start of the book, in the holiday, we know that something is very wrong and something is happening. There's the thing about a disappearance of a friend, about identity theft, and this book delves into like obsession and toxic relationship, and it's told backwards. Now that type of storytelling, I don't think I got used to it even after I finished the book. So by the end of the book I thought, wow, I hated the timeline, but I realized that I don't hate it so much. I'm not used to it. If it was flipped, I don't think it would be as interesting, because what kept me going was thinking, what is happening? Like, who is this girl? She is so unreliable. Will we ever know the truth of what happened? I didn't really connect with the girl, and I didn't really connect with any other character. I wasn't very blown away by the twist and turn, and I didn't really like reading about the physical violence in the book either, so I think that's why this book didn't really work for me. I heard people talk about, if you like Gone Girl, you might like this book. Honestly, if you like Gone Girl, you would still like Gone Girl more, because that's so much better than this book. I will, however, read whatever E. Lockhart is writing next, because I still like Lockhart's writing. I ended up giving Genuine Fraud 3 out of 5 stars, and right after that I started Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. I never read her debut novel Everything I Never Told You, but that book was popular enough in the book community and it's always there in the bookstore that I've heard praises about her writing. So when the new release came out from her, I went to the bookstore and read the first chapter, and I'm glad that I followed through even though the first chapter for me wasn't exactly like fantastic. The book itself like really pulled some strong emotions out of me. Like I became emotionally affected by the book. I was upset in some parts of the book, and I was also moved by some parts of the book. This book is about this suburban called Shaker Heights, and we see how people in the suburban think and act, and how this family that came in kind of affected this family who's been there for such a long time. I gave this book 4.5 out of 5 stars. I think this book is the highest in terms of the rating this month. It's very different from young adult book and perspective and like storytelling, because unlike YA novel, this book doesn't really focus on one character and her internal thoughts and battles, but it's a lot of people getting highlighted or getting their own page and their own story told in different parts of the book. Sometimes books like this with a lot of characters can be very distant because I'm just like watching everything happening. Somehow these characters are still very compelling. Sometimes there are characters that I don't like the first time that I met them, but then I gradually get to know them and I sympathize with them and I like them more. And there is this court case that got me really upset but also thinking a lot, because this book kind of explores what it means to be a mother, whether it means biological or love. And yeah, it was refreshing and good, and I would definitely recommend reading the book. After that, I read the third and the fourth book of Outlander. The third book, Voyager, was a reread for me, and the fourth book, Drums of Autumn, was new. I read the first 2 books and 2/3 of the third book of Outlander series, but then I stopped because I actually didn't want to read the book. Like I just want the TV show to catch up, and then I can just like save the pain of reading those thick books. But then now Outlander is starting its 3rd season. In September, one of the episodes really frustrated me. Like it tortured me. I just want to know what happened and kind of like still ride the high of watching that episode. So I ended up picking up where the show ended in the book, and then I ended up finishing the 3rd book, and then I didn't stop. I picked up the 4th book, and then I ended up finishing it, and I started the 5th book just before the next episode came out. So in 1 week time, I was 1 book and a half faster than the TV show. Diana Gabaldon's description of body movements, I love how those body movements like convey emotions and just like make me emotional. It was fantastic. So I ended up really enjoying Voyager. I also liked Drums of Autumn. Anyway, those are the books that I read in September. So let me recap again. My Not So Perfect Life by Sophie Kinsella, 3 stars. Genuine Fraud by E. Lockhart, 3 stars. Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng, 4.5 out of 5 stars. Voyager, 4 stars. Drums of Autumn by Diana Gabaldon, also 4 stars. What about you? What did you read in September that you liked best? Tell me in the comments down below. Also, I have a Facebook page. It's for me to update on my reading, but I just want a channel that will allow me to talk about books other than YouTube, because YouTube like needs me in front of the camera and a lot of preparation and editing, while Facebook is like right post. So yeah, if you want to check it out, it's there. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye.